Hey everybody, welcome to Felicity Yarn Studio. My name is Zoe and I am a fiber artiste coming to you from the foothills of North Carolina. I'm also a giant goofball apparently. So yes, if this is your first time here, thank you so much for checking the channel out. I hope that you will consider subscribing and sticking around. Also, if you guys want to find links to anything that I talk about or find my Etsy shop, find social media, follow me on social media, that will all be in the description box down below. We are now firmly into the month of March. It's actually St. Patrick's Day and I'm not wearing any green, so whoops. I have a green shirt that I plan on wearing to the gym tonight, so I guess that counts. But yes, this is my little monthly sit down, check in with you guys about what I've been working on and making over the last month or so. I don't have a ton to talk about today, so it might be a little bit of a short episode, but that's all right. I'm definitely still feeling the creative vibe. It's just waning a little bit with the warmer weather starting to move in. And I don't know, I've gotten sucked into reading books on the Kindle app on my phone. So that has been a major time suck for me lately. But y'all aren't here to hear about what I've been reading. You're here to hear about what I have been knitting. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. I do have a finished object for you guys. This is my outline tee. This is a pattern by Jessie Martinson, and I did knit this out of the yarn that it was designed in, which is Ritual Dyes in their Undine base. I actually have the label right here next to me. So that is their logo. This is Prairie Flax. The label says that it's 60-40 cotton and linen. I think I was looking at it on Ravelry and it said 70-30, which, I mean, that's not a huge discrepancy there, but I love this yarn. This made the lightest, softest kind of summery garment. If you have been here before, you'll know that I started this project sometime last fall. I want to say around September or so. And I had major gauge issues in that when I swatched with this, my gauge actually came out smaller, tighter, so I was getting more stitches per inch than what the pattern called for. That was a first for me because normally when I swatch, I feel like my gauge grows, so I'm usually accounting for things growing after I'm done knitting them and I block them. This yarn was actually the opposite, so it was my first time encountering that situation. The other thing that kind of threw me for a loop is the pattern calls for like something like 10 inches of positive ease. The other factor there was that I have been a lot more active the last 9 months or so. So my bust size has shrunk down about 4 inches since I started this pattern. So at some point, maybe around October, I think when Naomi was here, Naomi being my sister, she's the yarn curator. When she and I recorded our joint podcast, I remember pulling this out and I had frogged and reknit the entire bottom up part of the body because it was coming out gigantic. Like I want to say that I picked the size that would have close to the recommended ease. It was way too much ease. I just wasn't here for that much ease. I'm not a small person, so to me, sometimes that much ease can just look like a potato sack on my body, and I'd rather have something slightly more fitted. I'm not sure if I went down 1 or 2 pattern sizes, but I went for the finished bust size of 52 inches, which would have been my actual bust size. Like when I started this project, I'm now at a 48-inch bust size, so I've got about 4 inches of positive ease. It might even be more than that, but I love the fit. I love the way that this turned out. So I did mod a few things on mine. The first being that I knit more body length than what was called for. I think it was like 8 1/4 inches was what the body was written as before you split for the sleeves. I definitely went to like 10 inches for two reasons, because I knew my gauge was going to shrink up when I blocked, but also I have a slightly longer torso, and I did want this kind of hit directly at my waistline, maybe even a little bit lower. I wanted it to be cropped, but not like under my boobs cropped, if that makes sense. So yeah, I knit 10 inches. I haven't measured it since I blocked it and joined the sleeves and everything to kind of see what the finished length is, but it hits like just perfectly where I wanted it to. For the sleeves, she doesn't give an actual stitch count for the sleeves. It's just kind of pick up 2 out of every 3 stitches as you're going around. So I wound up with like 84 stitches on the sleeve. I did have to rip out the first one. It was way too tight. But yeah, the 84 really turned out to be the perfect kind of number for me and for my arms there. The other kind of mod that I did, it's not really even a mod because it's kind of in the pattern. The neckline on mine was huge. Even after I blocked it and stuck it in the dryer and tried to shrink it up a little bit. I'll pop a picture on the screen, just fair warning, there's quite a lot of boob happening because it was like falling off of my shoulders and still like way down here on my cleavage. So again, the pattern says to pick up 2 out of every 3 stitches around the neckline and then just bind off immediately. I tried doing that. I tried a few different things, and in the end what I did was I just came in with a crochet hook. I think I did a size larger crochet hook than what I knit with, so I think I knit this on size 5 needles, which I think is 3.75 millimeters, and I used a 4 millimeter hook. I just came in and I literally just did a slip stitch around the entire neckline, and that really just kind of tightened it up. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how the neckline is now fitting. This is like exactly what I envisioned when I started this. So yeah, I am super thrilled to have this done. I kind of knew that I was putting it in hibernation over the winter, and I wanted to finish it up now in the spring. So I have a spring and summer garment going forward. I'm absolutely going to knit another one of these in the future. I would even do it out of the exact same yarn, just in a different color. I really like the summer peach colorway that they have. But I am going down to Florida. It is Sister Spring Break 2022 in the beginning of April to visit with Naomi. So that was part of my motivation for getting this finished, was to have something to wear down in Florida. But also I might be shopping for yarn down there. We'll see. I know that if I don't find anything while I'm down there, I can always just order more of this ritual dyes. And while they are a luxury brand or price point, it was $22 a skein. I used pretty much all of the 3 skeins that I ordered. If I had done a little bit less on the body and maybe knit at a slightly tighter gauge, I could have gotten away with 2. I don't think so. But for me, $22 a skein is not horrible. I know that there are some more affordable like cotton and linen blend options out there. I may be looking for some of those. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I could see myself knitting multiples of these because this is pretty much the exact like shape and style that I really enjoy wearing in the summertime. It is hot and humid here in the South. This is very breathable. It's very like loose and flowy. So I can see myself getting a lot of wear out of this. I don't get a ton of wear out of my knits over the summer, so I'm very much looking forward to knitting another one. And I was actually thinking this morning, I have some yarn in my stash. It's from Ecoview Fiber Mill, and it's a wool and tencel blend, which I believe is supposed to be like a lighter, not as warm fiber. And I had that put aside to make a Tenya, but honestly, while I love the look of the Tenya by Caitlin Hunter, I'm not here to knit lace. I would much rather knit this all over again, even with all of my gauge issues. So I might be reappropriating that yarn for another outline tee. I don't know. We shall see. That's the beauty of having a stash, I suppose. I think that's all that I have to mention on my outline tee. Actually, Naomi, like in the time that it took me to finish this and now record a new podcast, she has cast on and knit an entire one. So we will be outline tee twins whenever I head down there in a few weeks. But anyway, moving right along, I do have a second finished object to share with you guys. I knit a second Mussleburgh hat. This is a pattern by xZoe, and this one I did out of some non-superwash yarn and mohair held together. So for more of like a DK weight, versus the first one that I did was sock yarn. This one I knit on, again, US size 5 needles, as opposed to, I want to say I knit the sock weight on like a size 2 needle. But I was going through my stash, as one does. This yarn is actually yarn that I dyed when my aunties were here 2 years ago, right at the brink of the world turning upside down. We were supposed to attend Carolina Fiber Festival, and it was canceled at like midnight. But we stayed together at an Airbnb, and they wanted to learn how to dye some yarn. So these were the 2 skeins that I dyed for myself during that dye session. And yeah, so these 2 have just kind of been randomly sitting in my stash. I wasn't sure what I wanted to make with them. And I was looking for some more vanilla couch knitting that I wasn't going to have to think too much about, something that I could knit while I was reading at the same time. So I decided on another Mussleburgh. The other thing that sold me on this is, I've talked about in the past how some of my knit hats don't feel the warmest on my ears. Like I can feel the wind blowing through them. Let me tell y'all, double lined, non-superwash with mohair, there's nothing getting through this hat. I thought about putting a pom-pom on top. I had one, but it's kind of like warm yellowy tones, and I don't know, I didn't think it looked that great with this, but yeah, I'm super pleased with how this one turned out. It's not quite as long and slouchy. I wasn't quite as obsessed about using up every last inch of yarn with this. I don't know what I'll do with these scraps. They'll just wait around until I find a use for them. But yes, this hat, originally I thought about just putting it in my gift pile, but now I'm kind of like, with it being so warm, I really like the color as well. I might keep it for myself. I don't know. I definitely have enough to make at least a child size one, maybe an adult small. This is the adult medium size that I made. I think the last one that I made was more like of the large size. Yeah, that is quite warm. So yes, this will either just sit in my stash or go in the gift pile. I don't know. I think it's going to go into my hat collection in my chest, and I might get rid of some other hats to make a place for this one instead. Oh, here it is. This is the pom-pom. I don't know. I just don't think I'm feeling these 2 together. So I'll just have to make a different hat that will match this pom-pom. Moving right along to works in progress, aka whips. I finally cast on my Laurel jumper. Laurel is a pattern by Anna Gervaux, who is along Avec Anna. And if you have been following along, me and Gemma of Gemma B Makes, we are currently hosting a knit along. So if you are interested in knitting this sweater with us, we're basically just doing it on Instagram. Use the hashtag Laurel Knit Along. I think that's what it is. I'll put it on the screen for you guys. But we will be giving away prizes, some yarn, and I've got some fiber, because if you have spun your contrast color like Gemma and I have done, then you can win some fiber as well. I think that covers all the details. It's running through the end of June. So it's March. You got plenty of time. You got time. Anyway, My Laurel has been a bit of a saga as far as the yarn choices go. Just a little bit of backstory. I originally wanted to use this kind of like charcoaly brown, not brown, it's black. This like charcoal, almost black yarn. I had originally thought about using loop fiber bump that I spun up. Didn't love it. So what did I do? I dyed up 4 braids of yarn, fiber, spun 2 of them. Really pretty. Nice combination, right? I still just could not bring myself to cast this on. I decided after scrolling all the projects on Ravelry and looking at some on Instagram, I think it's the fact that I really love the original with the light background color. So what did I do? I cast on in something completely different. So this is my Laurel. It's very scrunched up. I should have put it on a larger needle for you guys. It is quite bright. So the contrast color that I am using is a braid that I spun up last year during Tour de Fleece. It is from Wound Up Fiber Arts in the Lightning Bug colorway. So that is that. And I'm just using some plain undyed sock yarn with it. And I gotta say, I love this. Like, this makes me super freaking happy. I love this combination still. I love this too. And I actually have an alternate plan for this now, and I feel like it makes way more sense in my brain to knit. I want to knit the Great Gingham Sweater by Jessie Martinson out of this combination. Like that, like I can picture it, I can see it in my brain, it makes sense. This is Laurel still never like visually clicked for me. I don't even remember what prompted me to pull this out. I think I was just going through my bin of sock yarns because I had planned on just knitting socks out of this. It's a traditional 3-ply made out of her sock yarn blend. I think it's 90% superwash and 10% nylon. I saw it and I was like, yes, that is it. That is what I want. I don't want another pair of neon socks. I have plenty of those. So, and I knew I had enough yardage of this as well. Like I got crazy amounts of yardage out of this braid. So yes, that is, that is how my brain works. Like when you know, you know. So yes, I cast on my jumper. So I cast on my Laurel and like immediately knocked out a good chunk of it. I am past all of the increases and now I am just trying to knit to the appropriate length before I separate the sleeves, which I believe is like 24 centimeters. I gotta admit, as an American, all of Anna Gervaux's patterns are only in centimeters and metric, and yeah, it's a struggle. I gotta have a conversion Google page open while I'm working on this. I mean, I have a measuring tape that obviously has both on them, so I'm just measuring to 24 centimeters, but like figuring out the size that I want to make was like, I had to really write it down, and yeah. So I appreciate all of you designers out there who do both in your patterns. It is much appreciated. Anyway, yes, I'm trying to get to 24 centimeters before I split for the sleeves. I am not far off. I believe I have one more of the like little pattern there, and then I should be able to split for the sleeves. So this moves along super quickly. It's a really enjoyable pattern. It's kind of potato chippy because each of the color work sections are short and you're always like, well, I can just do one more. I can just do one more. Again, if I hadn't gotten sucked into reading and needing to like look at my knitting, I probably would have been a little bit further on this. I'm getting back into the audiobooks so that I can get more knitting that requires my attention done at the same time. So yeah, this is my Laurel. Loving it. I love this combination. It's much more me. It makes more sense to me. If you are interested in knitting one of these, please feel free to join us. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but absolutely no pressure to finish by June 30th either. This is really just super informal. Come knit a jumper with us. We're giving away yarn. The last thing that I have put any work onto in the last few weeks is my Aurea Cardigan by Megan Nodecker of Pip and Pin. Let me get this out here. This thing is a growing. So this is my cardigan and I'm loving it. I am knitting this out of Kindred Red in her crystalline colorway. So let me see. Okay, I was right here on the last podcast episode. I had just separated for the sleeves, and so yeah, I've knit probably a good 6 inches or so of the body. So again, it's knit and purl back and forth, so I can kind of do that without looking. I was doing that a little bit, and I did spend like one entire weekend. I was like, I'm going to monogamously knit and purl on this, and I did for like 3 days straight, and I made some major progress. And then after that, I was like, all right, it can sit. So I haven't even really measured this, but I'm probably getting pretty close to the body length that I'm looking for underneath the sleeve here. I don't know, I probably want a couple more inches because I kind of want this to be like a long, oversized, throw on around the house cardigan, almost robe-like, but not quite. So yeah, I'm basically just knitting and purling until I can't take it anymore. And then I will do the ribbing, and then it's just some like down to the elbow sleeves and the cuffs and the neckband. So I'd love to have the body done by the next time I show this to you guys, maybe even have a sleeve or two done. We shall see, but this is coming along wonderfully. Again, I'm using Kindred Red in the crystalline colorway. I think I bought a lot of this yarn because I love this colorway so much. So I want to say, okay, yeah, I've already used 2. This is 3 and 4, and I have a 5th skein here if I need it. I have 2 or 3 other skeins in my stash, so I'm absolutely not worried about running out of yarn on this thing. I don't really have a ton else to say on it because I'm not doing anything super interesting on it at the moment. Again, it's a lot of knitting and purling back and forth for the body of the cardigan. I will show, if you haven't seen it before, it does have this really pretty faux cable detail along the raglan increases. So that was a little bit of interest while you're knitting the raglan increases. The rows got super long before you separated for the sleeves, but it wasn't anything unbearable. I'm very much looking forward to having this one done and added to my wardrobe as well. So that's it for knitting or crochet. I don't know. I do a few rows at night. It's not like where I'm like zoned in and knocking out inches of knitting at a time. I'm just kind of in a different place right now, and that's okay. I still got the creativity. It's still flowing. It's still there. I'm just working at a different pace. So I have spun one thing since I spoke to you guys last. Actually, I decided to treat myself to some wound up fiber arts because I cleared like 8 braids out of my stash since the first of the year. So I was on her site during one of her shop updates, and I found a braid that I really liked for Jason. So I wanted to spin him some yarn and knit him some socks out of it. His birthday is in a few weeks. I'm not going to get the socks knit by his birthday, and it's getting to the point in the year where he's not going to wear wool socks, but that's okay, long term. So I wanted to make something for him, and then I was like, well, I should just do a his and her spin to socks. So I picked out this one for myself called Real Quick. Pretty. The one I got for him was called Deep Point, and it's the one that I have spun up already. So this is a 3-ply. It's a little bit heavier than what I would have liked to spin for socks. I've kind of been in this spinning a 3-ply for a DK weight. I haven't set the twist in it yet. I really need to do that. But I'm super pleased with how it turned out. It's very much him, kind of like denim-y, blue, gray-ish colorway. I do wish there was a little bit more of the super dark kind of navy color, but yeah, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. So I got around, I want to say I got around 330 yards for this. I have it on my phone, but I forgot to write it down for notes. So I'm gonna have to knit like every inch of this yarn to get socks big enough for him, because he wears like size 15 shoes, which he wanted a pair of the old school Adidas Superstars for his birthday in black. So not like the traditional white ones, he wanted the black ones. So they're super hard to find anyway. And then you add on to the fact that he needs them in like size 15, which is like the biggest size they make. It was a whole ordeal, but he found some. They're on the way. Random shoe tangent over. This is his spin. So again, I thought about spinning this for myself when I ordered them together. They kind of are like the his and hers version, I feel like. However, I was walking through my kind of space where I keep all of my shop stuff, and I saw a braid that I must have randomly stuck there, and this is called Wonderland, and they are quite similar. What do you guys think? So now I'm like, A, which one do I spin for myself? And B, do I save them and use them like together, like spin them together, make a giant 2-ply? Or do I spin a fade with both of these and maybe get a third one so I could have a 3-skein fade? I don't know. I'm having a hard time here. Clearly I have specific taste. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to spin next now, because this was my plan. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll open them up and like unbraid them and get in a better idea of what kind of colors we're working with here. Because sometimes they can be a little bit deceiving when you see them like this, when you open them up, what they actually look like on the inside. So let me know what y'all think down below, what I should do, if I should spin one for myself, if I should keep them together, if I should make a fade or whatnot. You know, it's not a problem for me to purchase more fiber from Trisha of Wound Up Fiber Arts. So that's it. I am still working on my bulky yarn spin, but I've kind of fizzled out on that. I kind of fell out of love with it, but I need to power through and finish that before I record next time. So yeah, that is it for me. Like I said, I will be visiting Naomi in a few weeks down in Florida. So if you follow either one of us on social media, prepare for the shenanigans that are going to get posted. I'm super excited to go meet Bing Bong. And yeah, I will check back with you guys after that trip. So I may have some yarn purchases to share with you guys, and I'm sure, I don't know, we may try to record something together. I'm committing you now, Naomi, on screen without letting you know ahead of time. So if you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, give me that thumbs up. I appreciate you guys coming around and sitting and knitting and chatting with me. Let me know what you're working on down below. I'm always curious to know what you guys have on the needles as well. So I will check back in with you guys in about a month or so, and happy knitting. I will see you soon. Bye.